Hi, I'm Sam. It's new car day today for me. I have been waiting 1.5 years for this car. I put my order in 1.5 years ago, which is kind of mind-blowing, but it's finally here, and I thought I would walk you around the car, some of the specs, why I chose things. I've had the car for a couple of weeks now. We've had some problems, so I'll run through what I've had. I'd be interested if there's any other 992 owners that have had similar issues or anything like that. But yeah, let's look around the car. As you can see, it is a 992. This is a rear-wheel drive GTS manual. Some of the things you might be able to see, got the standard Carrera S wheels. Wasn't particularly bothered about having any fancy wheels. I actually wanted the smallest wheels possible. I like some of the bigger ones, but I just wanted it smaller for ride quality. Bigger ones do look a bit better though. The Porsche enthusiasts among you will be able to see there's a bit of a gap here. This is a GTS, but this is on Carrera S suspension, so I've deleted the reduction and not actually all of the trick GTS bits, because for me this is a road car and I wanted to ride better on the road. If we come round the back, this, I wish I could delete the clear glass. It's just not, I just don't really like it. Mine came on PS4S, reasonably good all-round year tyre. I possibly might put it on some winters, I don't know, I'll probably just avoid driving it when it's really bad, we'll see. Now we come to my first annoyance of 992, the door handles. For some reason, they seem to catch your fingers. They catch your fingers on the outside, and then there's something about this mechanism on the inside. If your finger goes in, look there, it's caught. Like, you can do it without, but if your finger goes under like that, it catches. I've gone for this light tan interior, full leather. I actually wanted to go for the heritage interior that you get in the Sport Classic, but on a GTS, this weird options thing. If you get a Carrera S, a leather interior is a standard no-cost option. On a GTS, that gets removed as part of the package. I did not know this. So if you want to have a leather interior in your GTS, it's a more expensive option because you're kind of putting it back in. I didn't spec leather rearview mirrors. I wasn't bothered, but I seem to have leather rearview mirrors, or at least something that looks like leather. Not an option you need to spec then. I went for this, I think it's called the 930 option. It's this leather stitching here. I think it's quite nice. I think it makes it a bit nicer. I've gone for a manual. Another sort of slightly annoying thing about 992 interior is this cup holder. If you have a cup in, if you have a sort of flat white size cup, it's actually all right, you can still get over. But anything bigger, and it does mean you have to kind of lift your arm up like this to change gear. A little bit annoying. GTS comes with a shorter throw than the Carrera S, so that is a possible reason why I went for a GTS over Carrera S. I didn't realize it was going to take so long when I ordered it. In a demo car I drove, I thought this display was a little bit further away. Now I'm in my own one with the seating position. It works, you can reach it. I didn't like how it was sort of slightly angled a bit like that, whereas 991 is just there. This is actually fine, and the amount of time you touch the screen is relatively minimal. What have I gone for other options on the inside? I tried to keep it very minimal. I went for one of the full leather options, which is quite an expensive option, but I think lifts the whole interior. I have gone for the 18-way seats, so I've actually ticked a lot of the sort of big list items. I have gone for cooling, which is brilliant. I love the cooling and heating. A small thing, when you have a cable in here, you can put your phone in and sort of hide your cable, but there is no immediately obvious place where this cable goes. I think it probably goes like there. It doesn't quite sort of catches. The question is, where can you put this cable without it mushing the cable? I normally have it down there somewhere like that. I'm going to go around to the passenger side and show you some of the issues I've had, unfortunately, within the first week of owning this car. Well done, Sam, you've parked in some mud. Okay, I had the car for about a week. I go for my first spirited drive, and then I look over here and I notice there's something funny. Now, this has been back. It's been slightly bent back. It was probably more like this. Just this trim seems to be coming away. They have ordered me a new one. They've tried to bend it back, but for some reason, this bit of trim not fitted correctly, not working. When I first got the car, I noticed when you shut that, there's a weird vibration that goes all the way through the car. It is not that solid, and you could feel it in the driver's seat. I guess it's trying to make it kind of light and not too heavy, whilst also having all the stuff, but it doesn't feel that solid. My 991 felt more solid. If you look here, I've gone for the Burmester sound system. It's really good. I have driven a few of the different systems, different cars, and for me personally, Burmester is worth the upgrade. I notice it all the time. Partially as well, probably helpful because I have funny windows in this car. Now, with this car, and part of the reason I chose to wait rather than use a second-hand car, is I went for the lightweight noise isolating windows. Bit of an odd option. I think it's £1,200. I'll put the amount somewhere here. I think what throws a lot of people off is that it's lightweight, so they think, okay, but it's actually meant to be, forums and stuff are saying it's 3 decibels quieter. The car is quieter on the motorway. Now 911s are pretty loud, so I really wanted something that was for my use, which is a lot of motorway driving and then also just a little bit quieter day to day. I've still got the GT3 for going a bit crazy. A problem I noticed within the first week, we were trying to put this seat forward. I tried to put this car seat and I was like, okay, let's get the Porsche seat. We know it'll fit. And I put it in. And we put my son in and there was just no room for his legs whatsoever. I put the car seat this as far forward as possible and it went to about there. And there was just no room. I then looked at the driver's seat, and the driver's seat, that's my normal position, went about that much further forward. So it went back to Porsche. This was at the time we did the trim, and it turns out the seat had been mounted incorrectly, which is a bit annoying. But they just unbolted it, aligned it correctly, rebolted it, and then it moved further forward. So a couple of small issues, nothing crazy, but just I have a slight feeling that this car is possibly not as solid and as well built as previous 911s I've owned. Now, I don't know. It's really annoying when you have these small things because they're basically nothing. They don't really matter. The things will get changed. It's a bit of trim and a seat not bolted incorrectly and possible vibration coming through the cabin. But it doesn't mean the car's not going to be bulletproof and serve me for years and years to come. But it's difficult to not adjust your thinking based on these small things. I'm looking forward to using the car. Now, I believe that is pretty much it. I've gone for rear wheel steering. It makes the car's handle a little bit better. That's not really the reason I went for rear wheel steering. It's more the fact maneuverability is greatly increased. So getting around town and whatever is better. I have not gone for the front lift. This was a debate back and forth with my salesman Paul at Porsche Guildford, who's been brilliant throughout the entire process. But we decided I probably could get away without having front lift, just a bit of extra money I didn't necessarily want to spend. The reality is I've ground out the nose quite a few times, not being an idiot, just I like to take the car places and consequently I wish I had the front lift, to be honest. Car's a little bit lighter, but that would make no difference. So I would get a front lift. Unless you really, really, truly believe you're never going to ground out, I've probably ground out 5 times in 2 weeks. One really bad that probably any car would have ground out on, but a couple of other sort of small niche stuff for my day-to-day. If you look down here, front bumper, here's one of the options I really wanted but couldn't have. So if you have a manual car, you cannot have adaptive cruise control. It's a feature I use all the time in other cars. I find it really relaxing. But if you have a manual 911, you cannot have adaptive cruise control. There we go. I have the standard lights that come with the GTS, which I believe are slightly upgraded over this standard. What other things? And why the manual? I had my 991 GTS, which I didn't really expect to necessarily buy. I didn't think I was going to have it for very long. I ordered this car and thought it might come within 6 months, maybe 9 months, something like that. Maybe a year. I got the 991. That was PDK. I enjoyed using it, but I never really gelled with the car. And the only thing I could really think of was, is it not as special as the GT3? The answer is no, but it was better sort of day to day, not massively different, but a really nice car. Really like the 991 GTS. Really quick, really powerful, really torquey. But I think I missed the manual experience in my sports car because this is not my daily car. I use a little electric car around town and I walk most places if I can. I'm not using a clutch all the time. Something I've heard from people that have 992 GT3s and try and use them all the time is actually the clutch and the engine is a little bit of hard work day to day. Whereas in the GTS, it's this, I don't think the clutch is as hard, might be the same, but the engine's not as revvy and you've got more torque. So I think you can just pull away with lower revs. And I just love a manual gearbox. And in this car, I've not driven it much, but I've done a couple of long journeys and some nice driving. And the manual part for me just makes the experience more interesting. It's not about being quicker. It's just I've got something to do with my feet and my hands, and it's just an extra thing that you can work on when you're driving. And I wasn't sure. I was slightly worried. The price went up when I got this car and all those sorts of things. So I kind of nearly cancelled my order. I've just noticed I went for the sunroof. I like sunroofs. I was pretty 50-50. I'm still a fan of the sunroof. I'd rather have a sunroof open for noise than a window. Slightly less buffeting and less exhaust fumes. Yeah, I do like the sunroof. I could probably take it or leave it though. And that is pretty much it. That is a view of my new 992. What else can we show you? Show you the front. Being rear wheel drive, you get a bigger frunk. I'm not sure how much smaller, but it is smaller in the 4. So for those people that get a 4 as the ultimate daily, I think a 2 is better. Put winter tyres on and you're fine in the winter. I can see why you might want four-wheel drive if you live somewhere in the Alps or whatever, but rear wheel drive works. It's more fun. I've really enjoyed having this car so far. I've only done it 500-600 miles, but manual gearbox, 100% for me. Tick, 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 tick. The GTS powertrain, I need to do another video driving the car, but the GTS powertrain is punchy. This is a really quick car. In the dry, you've got traction issues. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like in the wet. I think I've driven in the wet, but not in anger. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more miles, and in the spec I've gone for, I'm really happy doing long journeys. It's great. It's great. I love it.